What's going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of Garage Gang. It is February. The ice has started to thaw out, kind of. And we are here with our good friends at Prep Baseball. To my right is Will Hanna. I will let Will introduce himself in just a second. To his right, we have Carter Floyd. And to his right, the one, the only, the gift that keeps on giving, Jamie Tessof. We are here to talk today about the preseason 2026 high school baseball rankings. And we're just going to jump right into it, and we're going to do it live. And we're going to start off with number one, and I'll let you guys take this away. JT, I know you had a little bit of trouble picking who was probably going to be here. So at the number one spot, Trinity.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. We're going to have them really, really high. They'll be in probably our top 10 in the national rankings. And, there's a wealth of talent over there for Rick Arnold, per usual. I don't think their path to the state tournament is quite as clear cut as what some others would be led to believe. I think they're going to get pushed by our number two team as well. But before we get to them, um, Blake, let's you and I touch on, and Carter and Will, I'll bring you guys in here briefly, and let's touch on this Trinity roster. And for those of you in different parts of the Commonwealth that aren't really familiar with this, we're looking at a generational roster. We're looking at junior Gray Davis, who is 21-0 in his high school career, future game standout for us, Clemson commit. Then, moving on, I'm going to move through this as quick as I can. Zach Floyd, Louisville commit, who is really, really a big helium riser, and I know you know this, Blake, starting to draw some Major League Baseball interest, and as well he should. Elite athlete, um, still got some things to work out due to the fact that he was a football player for a long, long time, and he finally saw the light, and really exciting and an outstanding young man, one of our favorites. Harper Haywood behind the plate returns. Lincoln Memorial commit, gonna get to go play for his uncle Justin down there, and that's a really good get for Justin Haywood at Lincoln Memorial, because Harper's an outstanding player, excellent receiver, clutch hitter. Had himself a big state tournament last year. Another future games guy. Moving on to another future games guy, another Louisville commit, Nolan Hosking, who is an elite low ball hitter that does not miss, and when he is on it, it goes a long, long way. Jackson Jett, another future games guy. We're looking. I'm going to bring Carter in on this here. We're waiting on the light to turn on for Jackson. He's developed physically over this winter and things like that. I know he's working really, really hard to maybe cut down on some swing and miss. Another elite athlete, projects as a center fielder at the next level. Carter, what do you got on Jackson Jett?
Well, I mean, I'm excited for him to get some time this year. The thing with Trinity is, on paper, their roster it's almost too deep. They have so many guys that, maybe didn't see a whole lot of time last year, even though, despite the level of talent that they have, that are going to get some time this year, and it's going to be really exciting to watch, in my opinion. So I think Jet's going to be a big part of that roster. Yeah.
I agree. Blake, let's talk about this next guy, and I know he is one of you and I's favorites in all of Kentucky on the mound. Virginia commit Hudson Meredith. Blake, why don't you touch on Hudson and let us know how the progression keeps working, because I think Hudson's going to have a chance next year to be a helium riser if he gets another bump and gets into that 91, 94 range. He's probably going to receive some MLB interest.
Yeah, I think Hudson last year kind of proved to everybody as a sophomore that he can come in and get the job done. I think he threw a no-hitter or maybe two. I mean, I feel like each week you were tweeting out somebody on that roster was throwing a no-hitter or a perfect game. But Hudson, elite fastball. He's starting to move a little bit better on the mound. I think that just comes from physical strength and age, and I think he's doing a great job. But, I mean, we can sit here and argue till we're blue in the face for 3 or 4 guys, like who is their guy that they're going to go to. And I think, Rick Arnold can draw straws in that locker room and be A-okay with whoever goes out there. But I mean, he's just another guy that, he threw a lot of really important innings as a sophomore, and I think that was huge for his development. And I think he's only going to keep trending upwards. And he's a guy that, like I said, he's got a great fastball, and breaking stuff's really coming along. And he's an absolute warrior on the mound. So he's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. And Will, I'm going to let you touch on this next guy, this next dude, and he is one of Shooter Hunt and Cooper Trinkle and myself's favorite guys in the country. And hopefully everything clicks for him, because I think we all, we know what we're looking at, and Wake Forest commit number one, and our number one ranked player in Kentucky, and one of the top players in the country, and unlimited ceiling. We feel like there's a chance we could really see this guy play for a long time, along with a lot of these guys. Will, why don't you give us your opinion on Max Phillips?
Yeah, I think Max has got a ton of projection. He's starting to kind of figure it out on the mound too. So he's looking at trying to figure out if he's going to be that two-way guy, or if he's going to pitch or hit at the next level. I mean, he could do both. I've heard good reports on him on the mound this winter. So hopefully we can see him upcoming and see what he's got going on.
Sure. And, there's 2 more guys, and we could go through this a lot longer, but there's 2 more guys, and Blake, here's your role, and I'll touch on the last player that I want to mention. But for now, let's talk about massive helium riser, just vaulting up Major League Baseball draft boards. Looks to be in position. I'll never say a guaranteed or a surefire day one guy, but as sure a day one guy as I think that we have had in Kentucky. Last year with Elam and Jenkins, there was consideration for them, and of course, the legend Dalen Lyle, no doubt day one guy, of course, and we love Dalen, and he's going to be starting in left field and hitting cleanup, it looks like, for the Washington Nationals this year. So good luck to you, Day, if you're out there listening. But let's talk about big right-hander Grayson Willoughby.
I mean, stuff isn't going to be the problem with that one. I mean, we kind of heard some rumors floating around out there, but I got to see it live on this past Sunday, and it is about as legit as I've seen since being back home. He's a kid that can really spin the heater. Metrically speaking, changeup and breaking ball are outstanding. Obviously, he's got a few steps to take forward with those, throwing some things, breaking ball a little bit tighter. But, he's a guy that is just, health and reps for that young man is the only thing I ask for. And, he's a dude that not a bad day at the office when you're asking for somebody just to go out there and throw you a couple innings in this state at 94, 95, 8 plus potentially one day. So, I mean, he's a cat that can get after you. And I mean, I think somebody through the grapevine said that last year when he threw in the state tournament against PRP, he just sat there and threw the old number 1 at him until somebody hit it. And so I think it was like 60 out of 78 pitchers or something, which is phenomenal. I mean, he's got great stuff to go along with it, but I mean, he just loads of confidence in himself and loads of confidence in the fastball. So I mean, he's a legit guy, and if you draw him on a Tuesday, Wednesday, any day, tough league there.
Yeah, he might throw 100.
Yeah,
this spring.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking out there, everybody. Like, I will not be shocked, and frankly, I'd probably be more surprised if he doesn't bump 100 this spring. And a lot. We know because we see him so much, but Grayson's a mean dude, man. Like he has bad intentions on the mound. Like, he is not anybody's friend, and he pitches with a chip on his shoulder. And I remember years ago we sat there and said, man, this guy's got a real chance, and it's there.
It's taken off, and he deserves it. Great kid. Met his parents for the first time this past weekend. They've done a phenomenal job. So. Wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, Mark and Don have done right by Grayson.
Absolutely.
Very, very much so. There's a guy that doesn't get a whole lot of notoriety over here with the Shamrocks, and I am really, really high on this guy, and I know that Will has heard me talk about him, and I can't wait to see him. At our preseason All-State here that's coming up in a couple of days. Man, I'm all in on Connor Stargill, guys. I'm
right.
all in on Connor Stargill. I heard there's a velocity jump. I heard it's upper eights now. Possibility of starting to bump some nines. This kid takes the ball whenever Rick needs him to, and he threw in some big moments last year. And I sat with multiple MLB scouts and college guys, and they were like, "Who is this guy?" And like, he's a quiet assassin, and so Connor Stargill, big shout out to you, young man. We're looking for big things out of you this year, and helping to anchor that Shamrock staff. So moving on, and I'm gonna let Carter Floyd lead us out here because
There might
he
be
has
something to say.
yeah, he
in
has a
the
pretty
old
he has a
7th
pretty
region.
good grip on this.
There might be somebody in.
Yeah, he has a pretty good grip on this number 2 team, and it's a familiar name, and it's Andy Porter's Saint X squad, and the Tigers are loaded again this year, and just about any other year that I've been around, they would probably have been a fairly clear cut number 1 for not that some of those players at Trinity, but. Carter, why don't you touch on some of those leaders and a couple of our favorites over there with Andy Porter's squad?
Well, yeah, I mean this Saint X squad just makes it super exciting being in the 7th region as well. We just talked about the incredible depth that Trinity has. At the end of the day, we don't even know if they're going to make it out of the region because the number 2 right behind them, it's only one of them are making it to the state tournament. That's what I really love about postseason baseball in Kentucky is everybody's in the same class. It's all one tournament, one champion. There's really nothing like it. So having 2 teams in the 7th region up at the top of the rankings really just builds a lot of excitement. But I mean, yeah, Brody Benefield is going to be the one to watch in my opinion. Air Force commit. Really, I'm thinking back to the regional semis last year when they played Ballard, and that was one of the most gritty performances that I've ever seen from a pitcher or any athlete in general. So, and I think
Bases
that's
loaded, nobody out, man.
Yep,
Like,
winning run,
season on the line.
winning run, 90 feet away with no outs. And Benefield having the composure to get out of it, swing the momentum back to their dugout, and ended up coming away with a dub. But I think that's probably, if there's one word to describe that young man, Benefield, I'd say gritty might be the one. But I mean, just looking at the depth of this roster too, there's future gamers left and right as well.
For sure.
It's just
Brody,
uber talented.
Brody, and I know Blake will know who I'm talking about when I say this, and I say this with all due respect, but we had a guy that was with us for years and years, and he's now making a big name for himself down at Sanjak, down in Houston, and we always would sit here and say, we talk about, we like to think about like low pulse guys and things like that. And we always said Dylan McIntyre had no pulse.
Negative pulse.
And Brody
Still does.
Benefield has no pulse.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's never going to panic. He's the kind of guy, he reminds me of the kind of guy that, if he was in the middle of an altercation, like a verbal altercation, and somebody was screaming and yelling, at him and things like that, he's the kind of guy that'll sit here and say, you're not scaring me by raising your voice at me.
Yeah.
You're not intimidating me. He's not to be intimidated. One of our better ones over the last several years at the Future Games was really good. Are the Tigers going to be able to replace the big bat of Kyle Krupp? That's a question mark for them, but they return a wealth of talent. And, we saw a young man whose older brother, and Will and I had spoke about this, Landon Akers, who was a standout at Bellarmine last year as a true freshman. His younger brother, Mason, looks the part. It's uncanny. Like, it's like a doppelganger,
Right.
When you see them,
Almost like they're related.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a couple of sophomores, Mason being one. They're going to have to step up for them to get to Lexington. A guy that we are just through the roof high on, Tig Brown. Will, why don't you touch on Tig and tell us what you've seen out of him? It looks like the velocity's starting to creep up. It's getting into the mid to upper eights now, and And, he's got some bloodlines. His dad was a former pro guy. And I think Tig's going to throw hard, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him in a year or two, bumping 92 to 95.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's clear last week in his bullpen at the event at South Warren, Ty, the fastball had some hop to it, 85, 86, maybe hit 87. It's definitely going to be trending upwards this year, up into the upper 80s as we roll into the summer. And it'll be interesting to see him roll around in late April, early May, whenever it starts getting a little bit warmer outside.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's a left-hander there that Murray State commit under the radar, and I'm going to let Blake jump in here on this because you want to talk about some really, really dominant stuff without elite velocity. But I think we all think
it's coming. Don't worry.
That it's coming for Colton. It's a little bit later, and good for Dan Skirka and that staff down there at Murray State for recognizing this because I think Colton Zugi is going to be one of our top arms. And to be honest with you, folks, Colton Zugi's probably going to be in the running for pitcher of the year in Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that Travis speaks very highly on. I mean, he's a guy that, put in a lot of work this offseason and it does great work. I mean, he's a guy that, won 2 or 3 games for him last year, and he's a guy that's going to really step up and help Brody Benefield and maybe that Jacob Reed guy a little bit. We'll get to him in just a second, maybe. But Colton,
we'll get to him.
I mean, there's something about that lefty kind of funky, bent brimmed St. X hat. It kind of reminds you a little bit of Ty Starkish kind of thing. Just an absolute nasty lefty that's just going to come out there and kind of thin on the weight side. But I agree when he puts on some pounds and gets down there with Dan Skirka and a great program down there. I mean, he's really going to jump. But I don't think we probably don't need to close the door on him taking another jump, especially when it gets warm. And I mean, those district games and those region games up there in Region 7, another guy, if you draw them on a random Saturday or draw him on a random Wednesday, you're going to be in for a world of hurt because he's nasty.
Yeah, there's some depth to that team, and Andy's got a lot to work with here. It's like I had touched on earlier, those younger guys, Brown, Akers. A guy that I'm really, really high on as well is Nolan White. Now, I don't know if these guys – I'm not sure. I haven't spoke with Coach Porta on this. I'm not sure if these guys are going to start at the beginning of the season for them. I'm assuming they're getting regular reps and they're gonna play a factor one way or the other. But if Nolan White bullies his way into the lineup, he might force his way in there. I think Nolan's got a chance once he gets to – really see some of that pitching that St. X is accustomed to seeing due to the schedule that they play. I think Nolan White's got a chance to make an impact this year. And let's go on here. And I'm going to let everybody just touch on this kid because it's an undersized frame with an electric arm.
Don't let it fool you.
Is just an absolute competitor. And he went down to Lake Point for us last year. And there were some question marks on whether or not, the physicality was going to limit him on his looks collegiately and things like that. And his phone blew off the hook. My phone blew off the hook. And we've got him headed out to Colorado Springs as well with Kaz and Coach Dawson. And Carter, real quick, why don't you go and then pass it on to Will? Let's talk about Jacob Reed.
Well, I love my military guys. I love seeing two Air Force commits on the same roster is going to be fun to watch this spring. But yeah, Reed is just a competitor. I mean, just when he jumps on the mound, it's just fun to watch. You could tell he locks in, gets in a zone, gets in a flow state, and just goes to work out there. It's exciting.
Yeah. He bumps it into the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He lets
it's got a 9 in front of it too, and it's vicious.
He lets it rip. It's fun.
Yeah.
And there's nasty stuff there too. It's not just he's got all of it. So
yeah, he gets down the mound with bad intentions, and we'll throw your 2 cents in on one of our favorites.
I mean, it's kind of clear. I watched him pitch last year in probably April, late March. It was good.
Beat Trinity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it was quality enough to beat Trinity. Then he rolls out of the future games. I think we were playing Ohio. He pitched on that Saturday, banged 90 twice, spinning it 2,400 with the fastball. I mean, then he kills the changeup down to 1,700. The pitch is mixed really well, and he's a good athletic mover, just a little undersized. I think he's due to have a good junior year.
Yeah, but he does one of the things that Blake and I like a lot. He really, really tunnels his pitches. Mm-hmm. Like they're coming from the same slot, and that makes for some uncomfortable at bats. Coach Perry, go ahead.
I wouldn't sign up to hit off of him. No chance. No way. I'm just happy that, the undersized, I just go back to it. Just don't let it fool you. Like, if you go in there and seeing a guy roll out there like that and think you might be comfy or might have an at bat or two that you're like, all right, might have something to hit, you're going to get your doors blown off and he's going to make you like it. But, I mean, something to be said about him and Brody being Air Force guys, being toughness. You talk about low pulse. That might be why they fly planes or do special forces and make sure we're all safe and comfy here back at home. Feel real confident with those two guys going out there. Don't worry. But
Pushing buttons at bad guys.
yeah, that's so no. I mean, that Trinity St. X game. Everybody usually has it circled every year. It's 10,000 people and it's awesome. It does kind of stink that we don't get to see them both in Lexington, but at the same time, we're going to see them play 3 times this year, and it'll be an absolute bloodbath. It'll be awesome.
Yeah,
Makes it a little more special in the regular season, I think.
Yeah,
It's
for
fun.
sure.
Moving on, let's move on to our number 3 squad and another familiar name that just is there every year, 11 years running to the state tournament, multiple runner-up finishes, multiple Final Four finishes. Is this the year that Zach Hobbs finally gets over the hump? And
It's also a
we're-
year we don't get to see a lot of the familiar names, the Aldridges, the
Yeah.
Higdons,
Mhm.
the Fair.
well, we
the
still have
Farleys.
Owen there.
Oh, well,
We've got
there's
Owen.
still one.
Yeah,
He's coming.
we
Don't
still got
worry. But I
Owen,
mean, it's no more. No more Miller Greens. No more those guys.
Yeah.
But don't get it twisted. They're still very, very talented, and I think it might be a year that they actually, play a lot of really good baseball.
I think so.
And they
and
just get it grinding in there. They had a lot of talent last couple of years, and we all know that. But I think it's the year where, Kendrick Dunning's right. I think, he's going to be a really big name to watch. I think he's
the key.
sleeper for my player of the year, JT.
He ain't a sleeper.
I'm just saying.
Not a bad pick.
That was
He's
my
not a
vote. I'm just saying.
sleeper.
No, but I mean, spoiler alert. I just think I think they got good baseball down there. I think they play a tough schedule. A lot of people look up on KHSA and they're like, "What? Who is that team?" It's like, well, they go down into Illinois and Indiana and Missouri, and they're gonna on site with anybody. They're ready to go. So I think they're a team that, like you said 11 straight years making it to Lexington.
Yeah.
They've had some tough draws. They've done some tough pitching matchups in the years past, and I just think it's an opportunity for these guys to maybe finally get one.
Yeah, and Will is this is Will's area of the state that he covers quite a bit, but I'm going to let everybody know right now, this is a pitching staff that will rival anybody's from top to bottom. I mean, you have velocity, you have the McCracken County changeup all over the place down there. And for those of you that don't know what that is, if you play them, you will find out. And Zach does a great job down there with the pitching staff. And look, you get to Lexington, you guys know this. You have 2 or 3 hot arms, and it can carry you to a state title. I mean, we've seen that in years past, and these guys, Coach Hobbs has got the horses to do it down there. Will, why don't you touch on their pitching staff and let everybody know that's not familiar with our boys from Paducah. With our boys from Paducah, what they're going to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you got Caden Kern, left-handed pitcher, going to John A. Logan. He'll run it up to 87 from the left side, good breaking ball. He's not going to overpower you with anything. He's going to draw a good swing and miss and weak contact. Then you go again to the left side. You got Joshua Penrod. Same type of deal. We've had good reports on him being in the upper 80s, another John A. Logan commit.
He's going to throw hard, guys.
Yeah,
He's going to throw harder. There's a lot more in the tank for Josh.
Yeah, Josh is going to be one to watch this year as well. Then you got Grant Vineyard. We all know his older brother pitching with the Yankees. He's going to be one to watch this year going to Wabash. He'll be another one, mid-upper 80 arm from the right side. Then, of course, you got Will Fox going to Louisville, future gamer. Will's kind of, hopefully this is his year. He kind of gets his feet underneath him and gets the velo right, takes care of the body right, and he kind of gets a grip on it.
Yeah, I want to touch on Will.
Will, we saw him out there in what was August.
He was great.
Yeah, he was
Paducah
great
for
He was
you
great.
on the mound,
Yeah, he
Blake.
was great.
But Will Fox put on one of the most dominant future game pitching performances Team Kentucky has ever had.
Yeah.
We literally had to tell him, and Will sitting with me over here last night, we were talking about this. I had to literally tell him from the dugout to throw from the stretch.
Just so somebody can see
to
it.
throw from the stretch so the
So he could
coaches
get
could
looks.
see him
Have a
go
day.
from the stretch
Have a day.
because it was 4 up, 4 down, 4 strikeouts, and I was afraid that nobody was going to put a ball in play and he was going to be straight from the windup the whole time. And I needed those college coaches. Not I.
Mhm.
It's always we. We needed those college coaches to see him go from the stretch. And the complete look of, for those of you that know Will, you'll understand what I mean. The complete look of confusion
Yeah.
on his face when I asked him to do that is something that I'll never forget. But,
It's a good problem to have.
He's been
yeah, for sure. If Will turns the corner, this year, and Blake, you're going to jump in here, but I want everybody out here in Kentucky to hear this. Caden Kern, this is a top-notch schedule too in the Midwest area, not just Kentucky. Caden Kern, 0.92 ERA. Joshua Penrod, 1.12. Will Fox, 1.41. It's just there. And Jeezel Pete's, I don't know if Owen Aldridge is gonna get a chance to pitch a whole lot, because he might be handling some catching duties. But Owen Aldridge is going to run it up there in the mid 80s as well. And we're all familiar with Big Brother Ross, who started out at Louisville and is now at John A.
and having success at John A.
Yeah, and so there's a plethora of talent down there. But listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I never have for anybody in Paducah. They going to hit or not, Blake?
Yeah. Well, I already talked about Kendrick. So I mean, it's going to have to be by committee a little bit this year, JT. And I know that a lot of this new school style of baseball, I think this is going to be kind of an older school style team. I think they're just going to have to grind out runs. I mean, I think the pitching staff's going to carry them a little bit to get to Lexington, which is A-okay. They got plenty of it. So, but I think it's going to have to be timely hitting, and I think it's going to have to be a team that pass it off to the next guy. Let the next guy help you out. Let the next guy help you out. But I mean, Kendrick Dunning, big fella, huge fan. Time to get it rolling. But he's one of our favorites. I mean, he has been around a lot of events, and he is a pure joy to watch. And he gives himself a hard time. We were down there in August. He hit that one ball like 401 to dead center field and like 102 exit velo, still didn't go out. He's throwing his bat. He's like, I can't hit one out of here. This place is a graveyard. Sorry, Kendrick, but I mean, it's just. It is it's a team that's going to be fun, and they're always fun to watch in Lexington. But I mean, when you're tossing out under 1 ERAs, low 1 ERAs, I mean that's a tough day at the office trying to score some runs. But hitting's a question mark for a lot of teams, not just them.
Listen, here's the deal with Kendrick. We can stop with him right now. He's really good at baseball.
Absolutely,
he is a really, really good baseball player. There's talent, there's IQ. And some of the folks out here, parents and players, have heard me say this over the years, and I've heard Blake say this. He is tooled up, and he is skilled up.
and he's healthy now.
And that is dangerous for everybody that has to deal with that guy.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's move on to our preseason number 4. And we'll see how this goes, but we are all in, and we are confident, despite what they lost last year. Hall of Fame coach Kevin Clary is probably going to be letting me have it when he sees this for the bullseye on his back, and
that's you, Will.
I had teased Coach Clary and told him we were going to have him in the 10 to 15 range the other day, and he had said he thought that was about right. But the Sarah Spartans, despite what they lost last year, the cupboard is certainly not bare.
Not even a little bit.
Blake, you have several of their players here that you train and things like that. So why don't you give us the lowdown on Sarah before we move on to our number 5?
I mean, there's we keep talking about these deep pitching staffs, and this pitching staff is one that you never think that you get to potentially add a mid to upper 90s arm that you didn't have last year when you get that back. And I'll keep it short and sweet. It's coming. He's going to be fine, folks. So, but
we're talking about Gary Gibson, everybody.
But I mean, you start with Banks Heinrich. I mean, a guy that, in my humble opinion, is drastically undervalued and underlooked. I mean, he hasn't got a whole lot of looks, and I think that's kind of a travesty because the kid's really, really good, runs it into the low 90s, good changeup, good breaking ball, and it's a kid that is he is fun to be around because he's a little squirrely and as all of us pitchers are, but he is really, really fun. So Banks is going to start it off and be good. Camden Stout was an absolute warrior for them last year. He kept getting thrown into just absolute fire extinguisher type situations, and the kid just kept performing and kept performing and kept performing. And that's the reason why they went to the state tournament last year. That guy's coming out of the bullpen is giving you 5-6 innings just because he can. So Camden Stout, whether he's still a fire extinguisher role or a big time starter, he's going to be a huge piece. Joaquin Acevedo is a young arm that they've got that's going to run into the mid 80s. Elliot Jansky's a big, strong, physical kid that's going to be able to help them out. And then I tweeted at JT the other day, and we might have released the secret a little bit too soon, but Patrick Donworth, folks, is a kid that first started coming in here 5 foot nothing.
Oh, you're stealing my thunder.
Sorry,
Coach,
I
told you this last
Sorry.
night. I walked in, I saw the kid last night. He made fun of my gray hair, and everything else. And I told him, I said, "You're left-handed, so you get away with this because you just don't know any better."
Yes, he is a guy that dealt with some issues last year, but he's JT. You saw yesterday. He's a good 6'3" now. He's a good 180,
he's a man.
190 pounds.
He's a grown man now.
Yeah, and he threw live in here the other day, and it was 86, 88. It's a guy with a legit breaking ball. Didn't even get to throw any changeups because 15 pitches and done. But he's a legit wild card that, can you give him 30, 40 innings, Patty, and see where we roll? But I think that's a definite name to watch around the Lexington area for somebody to potentially just absolutely take off. And but it's a definite team that's got a lot of pitching. And JT asked if they can hit, and I'm gonna say, I think they can. JT, how about that?
I'm all in on Joaquin. And I'm anxious to see him on Saturday. His dad's a great human being and has told me nothing but good things about Acevedo. I think it goes without saying, Donworth, but I want to touch on Gary Gibson just a little bit and go into that. So Gary's basically been off the mound for almost 2 years. I want to say somewhere in that range. Does that sound about right, Blake?
Just a year. He was there.
Yeah,
a little bit of sophomore
okay.
year. But yeah.
So if Gary Gibson's pitching coaches can get him right, which I don't know if they will or not.
That was a stab.
Yeah, it's Blake, everybody out there. But if they get him right, we're probably looking at about a mid to late April return. And if they bring him back, and we're probably looking somewhere in the 93, 97 range to go with the rest of that staff, the 11th region is going to get put on notice. And that 11th region is loaded again. The 42nd district is loaded again.
Not shocked.
And I have to say this now. If Gary comes back and he's right, Kevin Clary might be looking at number 4, guys.
Yeah, you look at Gary, he had a great offensive year last year too.
15 home runs.
Can't shake a stick at it. I always tell him, I'd get him out, but maybe I wouldn't. But but Banks Heinrich's another bat that's going to have to really step up and carry it. And they got a catcher that I really, really like. I love the bat, and Trip Winton. It's a guy that just missed a homer down the right field line last year. Juice in the bat. A legit power, legit middle of the order bat, and I think somebody that's going to drive in some runs. But they're going to have to get some people to step up, some young guys that haven't got to play, because you've talked about no more Addy, no more. No more Jackson Howard, no more Owen Murphy. The guys are going to have to.
Somebody's
going to
have to step up over there. I think somebody is going to have to step up over there, and it honestly, it can't be Gary. It's got to be somebody that is willing to sit here and assume, whether it's a quiet leadership role, whether it's a rah-rah leadership role, however it may be, somebody's going to have to step up.
Yeah, so, when you lose your silent assassin, a guy that's been leading the charge over there for a long time, and Charlie Slayball, it's a punch to the gut. But I think it's
who's rolling at Columbia.
Of course, nobody's shocked.
Of course he is. He's going to tear the Ivy League up, guys.
Yeah, he is.
Moving on to number 5, and here we go.
You, JT.
So let's talk about our friends over there on Dixie Highway.
South Side.
So let's talk about our Southsiders. Let's talk about the PRP Panthers, who always seem to graduate just a ton. And for whatever reason, they bring back a ton. And they've got it again this year, and they've got a couple of our favorites in all of Kentucky. There's a lot to replace, but let's sit here and talk about Joey Dudek first. I mean, it starts and stops with that cat right there, man. It's going to be a 84 to 88 arm on the mound. And folks listened to these numbers last year, and Joey was a little banged up last year and came back and of course PRP went on another big state run and was one strike away from winning back-to-back. Brad Burns one strike away from winning back-to-back state titles, and Nolan Hosking had something to say about that. And of course after that, Caleb Ricks, who we wish nothing but the best of luck, ends up getting a game-winning base hit in the 8th inning for Trinity, and
heck of a ball game.
Yeah, it was probably the best high school baseball game I've ever seen or been a part of. But Dudek last year in 23 innings in limited action, 8 walks, 30 strikeouts, 4-0. No runs allowed.
Pretty good.
Not an unearned run. Did not allow anybody to touch home plate. And he's back, and I am sure that Brad Burns, who is another one of our favorite coaches in Kentucky and always has them prepared. They'll beat you with a home run. They'll beat you with a bunt. They'll steal bases. They'll double steal. They'll beat you with their gloves. They are always one of the top 2 or 3 defensive teams in all of Kentucky. And
they're tough as nails.
Yeah, and they're tough guys. Like, they're legitimate tough guys.
Yeah,
like they'll throw rocks across the street at each other at the bus stop, for fun. Yeah. But Will, let's let you touch on one of your favorite players in all of Kentucky that is uncommitted still, and I've had MLB calls on this guy, which is just completely it's just unbelievable to me. It's incredulous. Will, why don't you talk about your guy, Rayvon Lee?
I mean, yeah, Rayvon has the power. He's got the contact to use his foot speed. He'll lay down a bunt. We saw it last year at the Invitational. He'll lay down a bunt, run a hard 90. I mean, how Rayvon is still uncommitted is wild, but I'm expecting a big senior year from him.
Yeah, we might see this guy.
A big senior year might draw some draft interest.
Yeah.
Depending on, he's a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to blow your eyes out at a showcase. He's going to go and he's going to put his nose down. He's going to work in game.
Yeah, we might see Ray on TV someday, guys. I know Carter and I have talked about that. Carter, we're getting ready to move on, but I know you like Ray, and you probably need to sit here and give your opinion on Ray as well.
I just like the way PRP in general, just their style of baseball is what I like to see. Like you were saying, they hit, they run. Nearly 200 stolen bases last year as a program. They're just fun to watch, and Rayvon is the pinnacle of that. Really, that whole roster plays with so much energy and fire. It's especially in the postseason. It's a lot of fun, and Rayvon is no different. That guy.
Yeah,
that guy loves playing the game.
You got to show up ready to match it.
Yeah, they're you
got to show up ready to match it. If you don't, you are going to get.
There's
torched.
No other way.
You're going to get torched.
Every year I say this: if they're in the state tournament, they're a threat to win it.
Absolutely.
Every year, and they are a matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
Starting with their head coach. They've always got a couple of dominant arms. They've always got 2 or 3 athletes. Last year, they had just an electric player in center field that's going to be a stud at Bellarmine and Braden Bruner.
Oh, yeah.
And they always have a couple of guys that are game changers. And Brad Burns, I'd love to see Brad Burns and Jeremy Shope hook up. Because you want to talk about 2 guys that are always playing chess while the rest of the world plays checkers. Those 2 guys are as solid as it gets. Like, those guys are outstanding, and the players, they get the best out of their players and their teams. So good luck to PRP and the Panthers, and for
speaking of Jeremy Shope.
Yeah, speaking of Jeremy Shope, but listen, last thing I want to add this here is I have caught so much grief from everybody on Dixie Highway for these preseason rankings the last 2-3 years at
Like I
PRP.
said, this is all you, JT. We
Because
had nothing to do with this.
and
We had nothing to do with this.
I am going to own this here. So every year I'm told I have them too low. Every year I'm told them, I'm told this. Look, y'all can't get mad at me this time. Like seriously, don't be mad at JT because I love you guys over there. So
Yeah.
moving on to Jeremy's
Here
show,
we go.
our number 6 team, six team, the Whitley County Colonels, a state champion 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
2 years.
3 years ago. 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
And they are loaded. They have a couple of transfers that have come in this year in Cooper Parman and Luke Hillard, who are going to play significant roles over there with Whitley County. Carter, what do you got on Whitley County?
I mean, it's exciting when you see a team that returns 100% of their innings and then some. I think is that correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe they lost a single arm.
Hillard and Cooper. And
Right.
Now you're just,
So
Yeah, they added 2 real ones.
gonna be fun to watch in the 13th region for them. I think them and last year Corbin made it out. This year Whitley seems to be the favorite now. But I mean, like we were saying, there's a lot of good baseball down in that part of the state for sure. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, look for big years and a guy that's going to probably be in the running for Player of the Year in Kentucky, and it's one of Will's guys down there, EJ Allen.
yes. Thank you.
EJ is a very underrated player. He's not underrated by us.
No,
'cause
Lord,
he doesn't
no.
fool us. Younger brother Kip last year as an 8th grader is amazing. He was a standout at the Junior Future Games for us last year. Listen to these numbers out of an 8th grader playing a really, really good schedule. Kip Allen had 9 starts last year, 45 innings, 43 strikeouts, won 3 games with a 3.09 ERA. This guy here is going to be a real problem down there in that area. We're gonna sit here and talk about this kid, but we're gonna keep it brief because we're gonna start moving through these a little bit. There's a kid that's transferred in there that is one of the top power bats in Kentucky right now, and he's a 2028, folks. And there is thunder, dynamite, whatever you want to label it as in there. That bat that Cooper Parman swings is heavy.
2029.
Oh, 29.
Yeah,
Even
there we go.
even
Yeah,
younger.
even better,
guys.
yeah.
2029.
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
freshman.
Sorry, Coop.
But
But anyhow, I mean,
physical
there
kid. I
is-
can definitely see
Yeah.
why you said 28.
there is legitimate thunder
Yes.
in that bat. So, Will, why don't you talk about Coop?
I mean, yeah,
Elite rotator.
Cooper Parman hits the dog crap out of the baseball. Like, I don't know what he thinks that baseball is, but whatever it is, I feel sorry for it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he went down to the JFGs this year and absolutely annihilated baseballs. He turned heads, not just in the box, but on the mound.
Yeah, he had a couple of
Yeah.
of in-game balls over 100 miles an hour and some
Yeah, I mean,
velocity down
he-
there as an 8th grader.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a threat on both sides of the ball, the left-handed power bat. I mean, it's going to be a really big role for the young kid this year at Whitley County.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of add something on top of it because Coach Shope's a friend of mine, known him for a long time. If anybody has an opportunity to go to Whitley County, please go. It is by far the best kept secret of beautiful baseball fields in the entire state.
Yes.
It
Agreed.
is fantastic. They play good baseball. It's a dogfight when you go down there. They're good. Don't get me wrong. You're not going down there to, all the way down there to win a game because they will definitely, they're ready to play. But Whitley County, we just talked about a bunch of schools with, except for Sayre, a lot of really big schools. I mean, we're talking about a tiny, tiny school in the middle of the 13th region that's out there, competing in the top 10 to start the year, which is pretty incredible. But moving right along, back up here in Lexington, this the year that Scott Downs finally loses some pieces, or are they reloaded again there, Mr. Tessof?
Well, I think it goes without saying. You guys know this. I'm always in on Lexington Catholic. I like the style of baseball, and I got spoiled there with Owen Jenkins being there, and Davis back in the day being over there at Lex Cath. So I'll say this: they're going to hit.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're going to hit. and they're going to hit a lot, and there's a lot of juice in that lineup. There was a couple of young guys that stepped up, which I don't recall us ever seeing, Blake, 2 freshmen starting at Lexington Catholic last year. And
They might have been freshmen, but come on, let's pump the brakes.
Well, Barrett Woodall and John Crandall are 2 guys that are 2-time JFG guys for us with Team Kentucky. And they're really, really good. Baird last year hit 377 as a freshman against that schedule. Johnny hit 288 last year. You know, and I'm going to let you go on this, Blake. You know that roster pretty good. Who's going to pitch besides Eamon?
Well, there's a guy that transferred in, and he's a guy that's going to have to step up. He threw some varsity innings last year. Luke Gillum is a kid that is going to have to really, really step up. He's a guy that has all the ability in the world. You know, another guy that's ran it up into the upper 8s, maybe touched 9 here or there. But it's a guy that's going to have to really step up, and you know, and Coach Downs does a great job with his staff. You know, he'll push him to get him in the right mindset, and then he'll put him in good situations. But you know, you do, you know, no more Jack Sams, you know, and you know, no more Jack Reeves. I mean, who last year just decided to just show up out of nowhere and just say, hey, here's 65 really good innings for us. But you know, like Nate Dawkins is going to have to step up. You know, Jack's little brother Mitchell Reeves may have to step up. I mean, it's going to have to be by committee a little bit over there with the pitching staff, but you know, Coach Downs always find a way. You know, I think this might be the first time in a while they've had a little bit of on the younger side roster potentially. Another sophomore, Eli Gann's not a guy that you need to mess around with. He's going to be potentially in the lineup.
Really nice player,
really good player. And you know, and we don't want to forget old Benny Lawrence is still running around out there. I mean, he's
electric.
He's a guy that
if he's on base, it's ugly.
Yeah, I mean, he's a dude he's going to be a tough out, and you know, and he's a great young man, and I think he's going to lead that team, you know, and be just fine. But a little bit different looking roster. You know, you don't have the physicality of Owen and Jack and all those guys, but I mean, I think that it's a roster that in the 11th region, if you can. Outside of Eamon and Luke, if you can find some really quality pitching, it's going to be a team that's going to give you all you want in a region tournament. And by then, I 100% expect Coach Downs and those guys to get it rolling.
He'll have it figured out. There's no doubt about that. He'll have that ship right at the right time. And, you know, look for a big year out of Eamon. No doubt. Look for a big year out of that young man. He's not a household name because there's been a lot of names, you know, there last year that threw in front of him, you know, with Jack and you know, Owen garner a lot of attention and things like that. But I think this will be the year that everybody gets to see just how good young Mr. Hughes is.
Absolutely.
And
another big.
They're going to get him for another year.
Yeah, he's still just a junior. I mean, he's a dude that put in some good work this offseason and body's in good shape. And I think it's going to tick up. And I think it's a left-handed pitcher at the end of the day, which everybody fits.
That young roster's developed. They've had a lot of varsity experience.
Absolutely.
Especially in having a disadvantage of being in the 11th region, the most difficult region in the state this year.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, there are several 11th region teams in the top 25.
Yeah, fun fact of the day.
And you know, let's go on to our number 8 team. And Carter, while you're on the mic, let's go ahead and let you go ahead and get in here, and we'll talk about our preseason number 8, and that's our Taylor County Cardinals. And I think Carter, let me know when you got it pulled up, and
sure.
I think we all know where the buck stops in Campbellsville with Taylor County. You know, but there are some other players there that are really, really, really good, and I'm gonna let you guys take this Taylor County preview and run with it. So Carter, you know, everybody, let's briefly take a look here. And Cole McLean.
Who? What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go any farther.
That's really it. He's probably my pick for
dang it,
for pitcher of the year. I'm stealing him. Anyway, yeah, I mean, they're just another. I mean, we say a lot of teams are fun to watch, but especially this roster. You got McLean up top, obviously. Another one that I really like, Silas Young. I don't think he gets enough credit. Really like his arm. They're going to be a really good 1-2 this year. I like the 2028 class. Reese Vaughn, really good lefty bat. I'm excited to watch him. Yeah, they won it last year. I expect them to win the 5th this year. Obviously, it's another talented region, but these are my clear picks to go to state here.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, Carter,
think
you just
that-
put yourself out
I
there.
did. I'm wow.
And I'm sure
I coach a lot of Elizabethtown kids. I'm sure I'll hear
I'm
it.
sure
man.
our
You're
friends.
gonna get
I'm sure
screamed
our
at,
friends
dog.
down there in LaRue County right now are
Uh-oh.
looking for you already.
I know
but-
they're not too far behind. They're not too far
Yeah.
behind, but
You
it's
mentioned you touched on Cole McLean, and I think kind of the, a little bit. It's not a knock on him, Is he going to get a little bit more of a tick in velocity? And I can tell you firsthand that I have seen it with my own 2 eyes. So, it's a dude that's got a great heater and spins the ever living crap out of a breaking ball. 2 different breaking balls, 2 distinct different breaking balls, and so I mean, strike throwing machine. And I think he is a dude that, like you said, anytime, any place you get an opportunity to throw that guy, he's going to be a nightmare. And unfortunately, you tabbed him as your pitcher of the year, Carter. So sorry, Cole, I can't pick you anymore. That's just how the world works. But speaking of pitching, our next team, number 9.
yes.
There might be 1 or 2 guys over there that can absolutely knock down a brick wall with a heater, and that is Boyd County. JT just actually showed us a little text message, a little birdie, about a Alabama commit, Grant Slater. Big, strong, physical, led the team last year in innings, I think. Is that correct, boys? I mean, got a first-round win over Boyle County, who was not to shake a stick at last year. I think Boyle had won like 19 or 20 games in
They
a
were
row.
red hot.
He was outstanding against Team Michigan at the future game.
Yeah, and
He
it's
was
just a kid.
outstanding.
It's it's easy motion. A guy that throws jet fuel, and one of my favorite pitches throws a little splitter action on it. He is really, really good. So, Will, got anything else?
Yeah. Let's just go over Mr. Grant Slater's. I got his stats pulled up from last year here, and they are very, very eye-popping. And Carter took Cole McLean. Well, I'm taking Grant Slater.
No, senior.
Oh yeah,
Senior.
Yeah, we
you
do seniors.
can wait too early pick him for next year.
Yeah, I got a way too early pick for next year. I
You
mean,
can pick the other guy on his team though.
yeah,
More
that
of
is
them
true.
because
Yeah,
you can definitely
they
pick
got
him.
2 of them. They got 2 of them. But I mean, going over Grant's ridiculous stats from last year, he pitched 51 2/3 innings and had 104 strikeouts and 17 hits, and he was 9-1. I mean,
Who's the lucky team? That beat him?
Yeah.
My gosh.
I don't know, but he's good. Definitely.
Give you a hint. State tournament.
Oh yeah,
True.
Team from the 7th region.
That's-
Got him. But no, I think Grant's going to be one to really watch this year across the whole state to really just kind of pop off the velo jump. I'm excited to see him tomorrow at our preseason. So he's definitely going to be one. Then I mean, you got Cole Adams.
Oof.
Blake, you got anything on Cole Adams?
JT, I told you yesterday he's got the best pitch in the whole state. Individual
Yeah,
pitch.
changeup's
The
really-
Vulcan change is
Changeup's really, really good for Cole. I'll
Devastating.
touch on Cole, and I'll let Blake jump in here. Cole's age-wise should be a 2027. Another future games guy for us. Really, really physical now.
Yeah.
Looks completely different than he did. Cincinnati commit. I don't know, guys, if he makes it to campus. I mean, he's drawing some pretty serious helium.
No arguments here.
I think, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's going to be a matter if he can command the baseball. If he commands the baseball, he's going to have a real shot at hearing his name called in July. If not, then he's going to have to go to Cincinnati and prove that he can command the baseball. And it's just that simple for Cole.
Yeah, I think
Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. He's one of your guys. Blake, go ahead and talk to us about Cole Adams.
I mean, just from the very first time he walked in the door, just the absolute devastating stuff he was throwing. I mean, just high spin on the breaking ball. I mean, when it's right, it's close to 3,000. I mean, it's something that's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, runs it up to 94, with a lot of arm side run, and that Vulcan changeup for those TrackMan gurus out there. I mean, it's in the negatives on the vert. So it is almost like splitter action. I
Wow.
mean, it's legit. And JT's talking about commanding the baseball. It's something that he's a great manipulator to the ball. He can curve it, he can slide it, he can cut it, he can sink it, he can throw the Vulcan change. But I completely agree. But you have those two guys in the lineup, or excuse me, on the mound. JT asked a little bit, can they hit? There's a guy on our team named Connor Davis that might have something to say about that. A guy that
Slater can swing it.
Yeah, Grant's big two-way guy. But I mean, it's 16th region way out there in eastern Kentucky. They're made a little bit different over there. They're tough as nails. So if you get to anybody out of 16th region, the first round of state tournament, buckle up. But Boyd County definitely a team to definitely keep an eye on with that staff and some good quality pieces in the lineup.
For sure. Moving ahead, and good luck to Frank Conley out there at Boyd County. Good man, good coach. Good luck to those guys over there in Ashland. Moving on, number 10. So before I announce the team, I just want to say this. I have not hidden this one bit this year. I am so excited to get to see these teams in the third region because there is depth, there are real arms, and it's not top heavy this year. There are 4 or 5 teams, and we'll have a couple in the top 25, and there's 3 more. Yeah, there'll be 3 more that are right there on the bubble to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big fan of the third region this year, and I think I think that the third region, just in my opinion, I think it's going to go through Jody Hamilton and Owensboro Catholic. They lost a couple of pieces last year, but what they're bringing back maturity-wise and guys now that are starting to get in tune with their bodies. Now they're going to be young. They're going to be running some sophomores out there. But their senior leader, their senior leader unquestionably is Barrett Evans. And we have dealt with a long line of Evans in Owensboro for years and years and years. And so there's 3 Evans on the team this year. Cousins, brothers, I don't know. Barrett Evans, there's Jude Evans, Tucker Evans, and we're really, really high on those guys, rising sophomores. But Barrett is a legitimate 2-way guy. He's going to Brescia College. He's going to stay there in Owensboro and play for Jody Hamilton's son, Casey, which is a great get for Brescia. And there's a young man though that's going to have a lot to say on the mound. And if he's healthy and he's right, that's 6'6" Gentry Atwell. And boy, oh boy, he's going to run it up there into the 90s. Evans is going to run it up there into the upper 8s. There's depth. There's really, really a lot of talent down there for Coach Hamilton. There's Drew Miles, sophomore. Alex Hood, sophomore. Jude and Tucker Evans, sophomores.
One more.
Am I
One
forgetting
more.
anybody?
Go one more.
Yeah.
Will, who am I forgetting? One?
Jackson White.
There he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jax.
Yeah. I watched Jackson I went down. I got to watch a full day of day 1 of the third region tournament last year, and I think Jackson White gave them all that they wanted. I think every at bat he was catching a barrel, making plays in center field. I mean, dude had a day.
Yeah, Jackson's one of the top players in the country, folks, in the 28 class, and I'm not saying that lightly. Like, he's legitimately one of the top players in the class, and there's rumors going around that he's running the fastball. He had a velocity jump this winter. He's running the fastball up there, 90, 92, 88, 90, getting up to 2 and things like that. But listen, this is an elite athlete. This is a true center fielder that put on an absolute one-man wrecking ball show at our state games this last year as a freshman, and was our MVP at the state games. Just oozes talent. and he wants to work hard. Is elite athlete, uber athletic. There's nothing not to like when it comes to Jackson, and the sky's the limit. And we look for him. Jeez, I don't even know where to begin on where his ceiling is. Like Dalen, AJ Curry when AJ was here for
Ooh,
that year.
Hold on now.
You know, I mean, right? I mean,
Pretty high praise.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say 500. Come on now.
But I mean, I
There you
mean,
go.
you know, I mean, honestly, I mean, like, who else do we have to comp him to? Like, truthfully,
Mhm.
Big physical.
and
kid.
there's another kid that
Yeah.
before we wrap this up, there's another kid down here at Owensboro Catholic that I am not going to forget. And Lane Hundley, do not think I forgot about you, son, because this guy here is a warrior on the mound. He's not going to wow you with velocity, this, that, and the other. He's a strike thrower. Starts 9 games last year for Coach Hamilton, 47 innings, 1.79 ERA. Took the ball whenever Coach Hamilton wanted. I mean, elite control, only 9 walks in 45 innings. You know, Lane, we expect big things out of you. So, you know, I'm glad I didn't forget you, but there's a little bullseye on you, young man. So, guys, why don't you say your goodbyes, and I'll let Blake wrap it up here. And on behalf of myself, Jamie Tessof, JT with Prep Baseball Kentucky, we appreciate you all listening in and watching, and we look forward to seeing you at the ballpark. And we'll have a couple of more of these to come out before the regular season starts. So with that, I bid adieu. Carter?
Yeah, I mean, looking at this top 10, it builds a whole lot of excitement for this upcoming season. And today is February 13th. We got our preseason All-State North tomorrow. If the combination of those two don't get you excited for baseball season, I don't know what will. So
Yeah, 160 plus guys.
Yeah, I mean, just going through this top 10 today just kind of brushes the surface. We got this top 25 this year is going to be really interesting to see, and especially throughout the whole season. So it was nice to get on here and interested to see what we got going on tomorrow at Champions for the big event.
Yeah, 15 really good teams left to talk about.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
you know, it's just the preseason. You know, there's a lot of baseball left, but definitely the best time of year. Good luck to everybody at tryouts on Sunday or Monday, whenever you have it. We look forward to seeing everybody, you know, at the PBR or Prep Baseball North. Sorry, JT, that was 112% my bad. But you know, really appreciate you guys being on here, and we will see you guys on our next episode when we talk about the next one. Appreciate it.